Hi, everyone, and welcome to my July 2018 edition of my interview series with women leaders. I'm so excited today. I'm here today with Kerry Temple-Wood. I'll introduce her in just a second. I am Emily Wishall. I'm a mind body coach and certified Rolfer at Wishall Wellness Live in Alignment. And I've known Kerry, I think, over a couple of years now. And from the time I first met Carrie, I've really deeply admired her. And she really is somebody who walks the talk of what she practices. Carrie's been practicing yoga for over 45 years, which is incredible. And she really has taken the practice off the mat and has weaved it into her going on 34-year marriage. Is that right?
34 years, 35 together. Yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah. And raising her children, being a mother, and through her own life process into aging.
Mm-hmm.
And she is the founder and creator of the Art of Conscious Aging and works with women in midlife transition. And I'll let you share more about what it is
All
you
of
do
that.
and who you serve.
All of that, yeah. So I have two things. I have the Art of Conscious Aging, and a lot of that sprung out of my long yoga practice because consciousness always interested me. And so when I hit midlife and started going into my own menopause journey, which is really my passion and how I work with women in my various practices that I do, consciousness and how we move through any transition in our life, from motherhood to relationship, parenting, menopause, aging, it all kind of fell into place for me as something that I wanted to deeply explore. And the Art of Conscious Aging for me is about waking up to the fact that we're all aging.
Yep.
Even young Miss Emily here.
About to turn 30, so I'm aging.
Oh yeah. We have birthdays in the same week. I'm a good 30 plus years older than she is. 'Cause my birthday's on Thursday, so there you go. And so when I hit my own menopause journey, I really had no container. There are very few containers for women in this process because most of us don't want to talk about it.
Like a container of support, you
Container
mean?
of support, like a sisterhood circle.
Yeah.
There's medical doctors, there's lots of bio stuff available. There's very little emotional, psychological, mental, spiritual support. And that's what really fascinated me, because my yoga practice had enabled me, I think, to come in with a really good foundation. There are some really beautiful, like 6 quintessential yoga menopause poses that are just really restorative and nurturing. They help balance the hormonal system. They help work with calming the nervous system. And they just generally help cool us down and make us feel better. And that helps me go through a somewhat less rocky physical transition. What I noticed was the mind, that my perspective, my attitude mattered tremendously. So
Your attitude and perspective towards being in menopause?
Being in menopause, being in midlife, getting older.
Yeah.
If you think of action follows thought, our thought process will influence how we feel about something, how we engage with something, what our self-talk is. So I wanted a circle and there wasn't one. And for the first little while, I spent a lot of time in the sort of fiery stew of hot flashes and being kind of angry about feeling like everything was just fine. Like, why is it changing? And you can't stop time. That's one of the things that becomes very interesting. You can't stop time. And after a while, I found I wanted a lot of space, and I would really start working on what's my self-care piece here. If I really want to do walk my talk, then what's my own self-care piece
Because you were
here?
still teaching yoga at this time.
I've been teaching yoga
coaching
since like 1982.
okay, a long
Yeah,
time.
a long time. And we're in my little studio here on our
We
farm.
are. We'll have to take a picture of it to share with everyone because
Okay.
it's beautiful.
Yeah, it was recently renovated just a year ago, and so I'm very happy.
That's so awesome.
I'm very happy with it. A lot
So
of fun.
you were very much so in that community where you might think there would be
Oh yeah.
support and work. Or
Nobody wants to talk about it.
talk about
It's the
menopause.
thing.
Why do you think nobody wants to talk about it?
Shame.
Yeah.
Fear of getting older. We don't have control over this, and a lot of us like control, right?
I like control.
Yeah.
I'm working on that.
I'm come from a family who really likes control, and I didn't have control over this process, but I could learn how to navigate it better.
I love that you could learn to navigate it better.
And so I wrote this, basically like a 5-day river guide, how to navigate like the energetics, the emotional, the mind, the shifts that are happening, mind, body, spirit. And because that's really what fascinated me, and what I really realized through this process is what I wanted to do out of this was to create that container, create that circle for women to be held. Because when I do get women together, they want to tell their story.
Totally.
They totally want someone to just hold that space without judgment and be able to think, oh, I know that, like my story's different, but my experience, the energy around that story is very similar to what I'm experiencing or what you're experiencing.
I love
So
that.
you're not alone.
Yeah. And we need, I feel like anytime there's shame, you said shame is one of the reasons why you think that we don't talk about menopause, which is silly in a sense because it's an inevitable fact of being a woman.
Yeah.
But it's true. And to help heal that shame and to release that, we need to talk about it. So it's amazing you're creating a safe container for women to have that. And, we more and more we desire connection. So
Yes.
creating that connection.
Because
and
when we
place
don't
to-
share, you feel that isolation. And now with so much in social media, so many other ways to connect, we don't have a lot of that one-on-one or circle work where somebody's actually looking at you and saying, wow, I hear you. I really can resonate with what you're saying. Like, I've had this experience. And then women also can share and reflect back to each other. Oh, have you tried this? I've worked with this. And so then each of them become resources for themselves and each other. That's really nice.
Yeah.
That's a really nice feeling, because we don't really want to feel alone in this. Every woman's going to do it. So if we can begin to consciously embrace the midlife journey into our longer aging journey, because the statistics are, if you make it to 55, statistics say you're going to make it probably, 50%, more than 50% will make it to 85, another 30 years. So if you think you're just hitting 30 of what you've done, and Emily has done a lot and accomplished a lot in her 30 years, I possibly have another 30 years to go.
Yeah.
But the focus of my life is very different. I'm not looking to have the kids to have sex for the first time, to learn how to walk or talk or ride a bicycle or go to school. Maybe I will go back to school, but the perspective of how we do this journey is very different, and I think it has much more of a spiritual evolution. I think we are evolving because the baby boomers are the first generation, really, to ever have had this opportunity.
To live longer. So
To
you're
live
thinking
this
it's opportunity
longer
going
third
past
of your life.
55 as a shifting to the perspective we've had on what it looks like as we get older.
So at the turn of the last century, 1900, the median age of death for women was 48 years old.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
Think about it. Menopause was not really in the cards. Certainly not in the same million plus women that are doing this now.
Yeah. Huh.
So we are a force if we will come out of the darkness and say, I claim this. I claim this journey. And if we don't claim it and honor it, I don't think anybody else will.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's men's society to do that for us. I don't think it's anybody else. It's like I invite all of us to claim the empowered women's journey through midlife and beyond.
I love that, the empowered women's journey through midlife and beyond.
That's what I want.
And claiming it and talking about it and sharing, and yeah, that's beautiful. And before, can I say how old you're turning?
I'm turning 62.
62, which is incredible.
Next Thursday.
Yeah, it's amazing. And
very happy about that, quite honestly.
Yeah.
Every I wouldn't go back.
I know when you turned, I think we had met sometime before you had turned 60. I remember your 60th birthday and how excited you were and all that you shared. I was like, this woman's incredible. I love her. But before we got on in this interview, Kerry and I were talking, and something that she shared with me that I really loved is you're finding as you're getting older, kind of like a new awakening in a way, or new discovery of different things, as opposed to when I think the society might want us to think, or like the mass norm might think about aging is, oh, it's more of a depleting, or you're not necessarily discovering new things, you're just kind of retiring, going about your life, or your life isn't yours so much in a way, if that makes sense. You're not creating new.
So
does that resonate with what you?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's what I do get a lot, and I've actually written about this. Many women will come to me and talk about, all of a sudden I'm feeling invisible. So there's this sense of invisibility, and I think if we buy into that, that indeed can become true. It not something I've personally felt. I've actually been really excited about each of the stages of my life. I was excited about my 40s, my 50s, and I'm excited about my 60s. But each time, I've really gone into consciously, what is this time of my life? What is it I want to do in this time of my life?
Yes.
So the creative possibilities, I think, get even stronger as we get older, not less. So I would put out that actually aging gives us a possibility of experience and wisdom with which to segue into what really lights me up now. So there's this place of the consciousness of conscious aging. That conscious aging piece is like, what is your passion now? What makes your heart alive? What things do you like to do? What things don't you like to do? What can you let go of? And what really do you want to put time and energy and attention into? Who is it you want to connect with? Some people you let go because they've got a problem, or for everything. They're feeding on you, not nurturing you. And I think that gets stronger as you get older. My phrase for this whole, it's on my website, is all that's not truth falls away. Like, I don't have time for a lot of crap.
I love that as a mantra too, and as you age and go through the years, all that's not true falls away.
Yeah.
And I appreciate what you share, even just about the people in your life, and some of them may be falling away. Obviously I'm just now turning 30, so I'm, somewhere in my journey, not super far along, but I've been noticing getting more clear, especially in just the last year, when I leave somebody's presence, I check in and I notice, where is my energy up a little bit? Do I feel more elevated, more excited about potential, about possibility, or do I feel neutral, or do I feel kind of like crappy?
Great.
And it's those people who I really feel elevated by that I'm seeking out more and more of, like, that. Those are the people I want to be with.
You are starting early, and I'm so glad, because that's a lens that many of us haven't had. We've just gone through by default of, these are the people that are in my life, these are my tribe, and you just deal with it. And I think I have somewhat less tolerance to just deal with it. It's like my dealing with is like, no, actually this relationship isn't nurturing me, or this style of interacting isn't nurturing, or these foods aren't nurturing me, or this, that, or the other thing. So it's really about looking at and taking charge of our choices, because one of the things that I really, really got was, if not now, when? That little phrase. So if I don't look at this now, or explore this now, or deal with this fear now, because fears have been one of my big things that have stopped me. And one thing I'm fearless about is inner vision and inquiry, and say, okay, what is this really about for me? And so really looking at what what is not my truth anymore, what does not serve me.
And I appreciate that. That's kind of seems like your intention every year of your birthday, probably every decade for sure, that you really are aging consciously, and you really are setting that intention and being really clear, what is it that you want, and actually asking yourself that question. I think that a lot of people have fear around asking what they actually want, because it might be what they want is quite different than maybe how their life looks.
Yep.
And that's really scary, so it might be easier to just push those wants down.
Yeah.
Would you have any, if someone is experiencing that, like where resources or suggestions that they can turn to?
Excuse me. I might start with maybe writing, journaling, finding someone to connect with that you trust, and talking about what you're feeling and sensing. Looking at maybe small changes that you could make. So a lot of women in particular might come into midlife and be in a job that they just cannot deal with anymore. They've done it, it's been their default mode, and they're done. That was certainly true for me in one of those places of, like, I was in work that I could do, but not something that was my passion anymore at all. But I was terrified of letting it go. And you don't have to do it the way I did, which was kind of cold turkey, which was not necessarily what I recommend to everybody else. But what you can do is, like, what are the small...
Did you just leave your job?
I did.
Okay.
And that's just me and my personality. Another way to do that, though, is to make small incremental shifts of begin to just look at, what is it that lights me up? It may not be my work right now, but it might begin to lead me into other things in my life and other avenues that I really want to explore. And then it's just interesting when we set an intention to explore something, how the universe often has a way of putting either obstacles to kind of veer us around, or opportunities of people to connect with, or situations that arise that make it either really clear it's time to go, or really clear that, oh, but there is a piece of this that I can foster more. So looking at those places of where you can foster creativity, foster meaning in your own world and interactions.
I like that. So it doesn't have to be a big scary thing, and then you're not just pushing, suppressing down, hiding away desires. You get to find every day what lights you up, what you like a little bit, and see that ripple effect.
I explored
slowly in your
before
life.
I did leave. I did explore a lot of things. I put on all these different hats. Like, I felt like I was putting on the real estate hat, or I was putting on the interior design hat, or I was putting on this hat of, like, could I do this? Could I do this? Could I do this? And for me, a lot of that felt like I was reaching outside for an answer that I had to look in for. Because when I went through all of that, what I really landed with was, I want to hold space for women in this midlife journey. I want to create sacred space, because this is an experience that every single woman will do, as long as you're living long enough to do it. And no one wants to talk about it. And it's like, I want to talk about it.
Yeah.
I want to hold this space and honor you, empower you to be exploring what this journey is for you.
That's incredible. What a gift.
So,
Yeah, I feel so grateful to even just be planting the seeds of this conversation well before I will go through this experience, just to so that I feel like
we
helping
are.
to expand my awareness
We're
of like,
carving the way. We're paving
Yeah.
the way
Yeah.
for all of you.
yeah,
I have 3 daughters who are just your age, and I feel like I'm hopefully
so lucky to have you as your mama.
paving the way for them.
You are, yeah,
You know, and anybody, any other woman, it's there.
yeah,
And I would rather the attitude be, oh, like this is the next transition. How do I prepare we do all sorts of things for childbirth and
yeah,
pregnancy.
good point. Yep.
We do nothing for menopause. It all of a sudden hits us, and many of us like, what the heck's happening? They don't even know they're in it, except everything's starting to get really confusing and overwhelming and crazy, and you're feeling things, and your libido's tanking, and other things are ramping up, and you've got energies going on, and it can feel crazy making. And I want to say, you're not alone. There's a container. Let's share and talk about this, and I'll see how I can hold this space for you.
Yeah.
Your life is not over. Your life is not over at all.
Yeah. So you do the circles in person, but you have some online work as well. So that I'll take a picture so you can see this too, because it's beautiful here. It overlooks the foothills of Boulder. So you do in-person work, but you have online work.
So I work
as
through
well.
Skype online. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll do a lot of one-on-one working with women through a 6 weeks program that I've developed basically to segue you through to find this really container and be held and to explore some things, and then often we'll go on past that, but at least gives us a language with which to talk about that. So working with Skype online, working one-on-one here or in small groups. I keep the groups small because when women get together, they do like to share, and I want everybody to feel seen and heard. So I keep them small, usually 4 women max, and there is time and space within that to be held and to share your story, to listen and feel into your own wisdom, because by now we've started to accumulate wisdom and experience. So how do we learn to listen to that and bring that a little bit more forward rather than pushing it aside or down?
Yeah.
And then I work a lot with yoga, because yoga is my foundation. So I have various classes that I teach here. I do a lot of private work and one-on-one work as well. And various workshops here and there as spirit kind of calls.
Yeah.
And
various
circles.
containers that you
Various
can work
containers.
with you, which is nice, which is great. And I might get this wrong, but I love the title of your newsletter. What is it?
The new aging paradigm.
The new aging paradigm.
Because I think there is a new paradigm happening, that's possible. One of the things that Emily talked about me getting on my soapbox. So I won't get on my soapbox.
No, get
here.
on your soapbox. I love it.
But I'm not anti-aging. If you haven't figured that out already, I am not anti-aging in the slightest. Part of the reason behind that is the millions of dollars that are spent trying to sell us creams, injections, chemicals, all sorts of things, some of which might be needed at certain times in our life, absolutely. But as a lifestyle and as an attitude, the underlying message of every anti-aging thing, cream, whatever that is out there, the underlying message for women in particular, because women are the recipient 99% of the time, is that you're not okay.
Yeah.
And
Something's wrong with you because
Something
you're aging.
is wrong with you, that you're in menopause. You've got symptoms. Well, guess what? Symptoms means, if you look at medically, something to be fixed. What about, this is an experience. There is actually nothing wrong with me. I'm in menopause. I'm not sick. Which doesn't mean from time to time you might want support through acupuncture or herbs or various bioidenticals at certain times. All of that might be relevant with the right situation, the right practitioner, and your body needs. I'm not saying one or the other. I'm saying look at it consciously, decide what's right for you, get a practitioner that you trust, and then work with it. So the whole anti-aging thing, once you get through that, I would much rather embrace and look at wellness in aging than anti-aging. How can I age well? How can I age with meaning? How can I age with maybe some degree of grace? How can I stay healthy as I age?
It's really proactive and health-oriented,
Yes.
rather than fixing or
Yeah.
trying to.
Be something that I'm not. I'm not interested in being 40 anymore. I'm interested in exploring what this decade of my 60s is like.
It's incredible. Yeah, I love that. And I just love that title. So if you had like a tip, I feel like we kind of maybe touched in on this, but if you had a tip or suggestion, like a tangible takeaway if somebody's watching this, that they could implement into their life and support them, particularly, a woman, if she is in that menopause period or maybe post that.
Find somebody to talk to. Connect with a sisterhood.
Yeah.
Take it, or journal. So yeah, find a circle. I have a Facebook group called the Meno Tent.
I'll put a link on that to the Meno Tent below.
We have conversations and discussion on there. Journal. Begin to listen. Very much this place of what's my truth right now? How can I make small changes that might have bigger impacts on what I eat or how I do self-care? Self-care is huge because you can have all the wealth in the world, but if you don't have your health as you get older, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
It's not gonna fix anything. So I've been very fortunate of having a lifelong practice and parents who are very health oriented. It's just kind of been my whole life. But I would love to foster that focus and awareness that it matters. You have control. If you want control, you have control about what you put in your mouth.
Yeah.
What you drink. And maybe in menopause, caffeine and red wine aren't your friends. Maybe you're okay with that. You need to figure that out for yourself. But you have, for me, it became really clear at about 52, there were a bunch of things that were not my friends. Red wine, which I loved, was not my friend during that period. It tasted like vinegar. Coffee was not my friend. It just fired me up even more than I was firing up. And for me, I discovered I had a real sensitivity to gluten. And I was getting inflammation. And because I've also been a personal chef, I knew a lot about foods, and it's like, okay, I can work with this. Let's play with this. Let's experience this and make some shifts, make some changes, and see if I notice changes within me. So that place of listening.
Yeah. So really,
what's my body saying? How am I responding to this? That
So
we can change.
Yeah. So it sounds like tips of really just creating space in your day, even like 3 minutes or something, maybe to just sit and ask
Any of you are
yourself and ask your body.
meditators? Pick up your
Yeah.
meditation practice.
Listen and find a support, either a
circle.
friend or a circle, and journal.
Find a journal. And journaling may not be your thing. I know it isn't for some things, for some people. But there might be other creative outlooks like art or collages or any number of painting, different artistic things. Or it could be getting out in nature. It could be going for walks. It could be getting out. Find a gentle yoga practice. It's not, midlife and menopause for a lot of women is not the best time to really ramp up your practice. It might be a time for a period of time, to cool it down. to find things that are a little bit gentler, more restorative, or balance it, do a little bit of both. I found that during my 50s, my practice changed dramatically. It was much gentler, and now coming out of the end of my 50s into my 60s, it's like I want to reconnect with my core. I'm like into my strength again. I'm finding that yang within the yin, and so now it's like, how do I empower that yang and keep the balance with the yin and the feminine presence? So I'm really working with trying to walk both of those right now. But I noticed for a lot of that time, during that real intense midlife time, I just had to let go of some things that had been the way my practice had been for a long time.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that's not what my body's asking for right now.
And it's okay to let those things go.
Well, it's like just put them sort of to the side maybe for a while. But that place of listening, listen to what your body's asking.
Listen, that's so important. Thank you so much. I feel like I've taken so much away, and I think the biggest thing I think for all of us to really keep in our head is how we talk to others and to ourselves about aging, and really watching those thoughts, because that's going to completely impact what you're saying, the actions that you take. And
your self-talk is really important.
Progressive, accepting ownership role in that process.
Oh, I like that. Progressive ownership. Yay.
So if people want to get in touch with you, learn more about your work, how can we do that?
So I have a website, Facebook page, and an Instagram.
The website is The Art of Conscious Aging.
So it's all, it was just sort of, those are the three social media. It's all under The Art of Conscious Aging.
Okay.
So www.theartofconsciousaging.com. The website. I'm also on Instagram. Look under Kerry Louise or Conscious Aging. And my Facebook page is also called The Art of Conscious Aging. And those links actually are right on my website.
Easy.
So that's easy there.
Beautiful.
I also have a separate Facebook group called the Menno Tent. And that's all on the website. All that information is actually on the website, as well as my blog, so the writings that I do on aging and menopause.
Great. I definitely, recommend anyone to check out Kerry's website and blogs. There's a lot of valuable information there.
Yeah, because writing was something I never, ever, ever thought I would do. I didn't do well in English in school at all. And that is something that really came out of my midlife journey.
Beautiful.
I started writing. And I've had several blogs accepted into major online publications, and that floored me. So never say never.
Awesome. That's incredible. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Anything that I feel like we covered a lot.
No, I just want to give great gratitude and appreciation for you and the work that you do.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here. I honor and value your time, and
thank you.
I am grateful to know you, to get to open my eyes up to so many more possibilities and ways of going through life.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, so thanks everyone for tuning in. I will link to all of Kerry's website, social media, and check out her work. It's incredible. And if you're in Boulder, you can come take live yoga classes with her. So that's also a great benefit.
Namaste.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.